Funding requests for the Air Force. The Next Generation Air Domination program is slashing nearly a third of the estimated $550 million in housing the armed services. Chief Committee signs 2024 State Defense Authorization Act. But while the amount of the reduction roughly matches what the Air Force has, saying it withdrew from the F-22 program to fund NJD, your draft, doesn't seem to put that $550 million directly back into F-22. Instead, the bill lists $550 million in suspension of Air Force requests, $2.326 billion for NGAD. No further explanation was provided, and a spokesman for the RLA's chief representative Mike Rogers did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The fact that it was described as a suspension suggested funds could be rolled over to another year. In mid-May, the Air Force said it was starting hours in the absence of a contract effort, issuing a request for information to industry that is expected to culminate in the selection of a contractor next year. Meanwhile, the Indonesian Air Force has also asked Congress to let it retire the 32 Block 20 F-22 ES that have been used for training and service, which is the most expensive aircraft in the fleet. To maintain the Air Force made a similar request in the 2023 budget, and Congress instead issued a provision that bans the service from retiring all Raptors until October 2027. The 2024 Chiefs sign has not changed. That requirement and AKSC members have voiced concerns for the Air Force. Less fighting tonight. Too much capacity to pay for the future. Capability suggested they were once, again unwilling to let the F-22 mothball. Secretary of the Air Force Frank Kendall has replied that there is no spare time in developing and implementing it. China's fifth-generation fighter is advanced in capabilities. He said reducing the F-22 fleet to increase the NGAD development account was a calculated risk, but he was a comfortable take. In April, Air Force Deputy Chief of Staff for Plans and Programs, Lieutenant General Richard Moore, Jr. broke with the tradition of not explaining to Congress the specific dollar trade-offs between budget items. He told the HESC tactical panel of the flight where funds were saved. Out of service, the 32 F-22S will remain in the air domination portfolio and go straight to Mitchell. The Institute for Aerospace Studies event a few days later, Moore said it costs $485 million a year just to operate 32 Block 20 Raptors, and that figure will not include the upgrades and new equipment needed to bring the aircraft up to date against known and predictable Block 20 threats. It has been used for training and lacks many improvements to the F-22's battle code Block 35. To bring Block 20s to Block 35, it will cost an additional $3.5 billion. Moore said, adding that it would not be a worthwhile investment because the F-22 is slated for retirement around 2030, and it would take years to build the industrial capabilities needed to develop and install the upgrade. In fact, Moore says the 35S block itself already needs upgrading. Lockheed Martin, prime contractor for the F-22 and F-35, has a limited number of engineers, he said. And if they did, an endeavor like this would be reasonable to expect they would have to attract some engineering talent from the F-35 to get this accomplished. AHASC staff members would not speak directly to NGAD cut, but note the law against retiring the F-22 still applies. That said, Block 20s can still be very capable in some theaters, and if they fall back the way the F-35 did, people will have to choose a training role, and that means more wear and tear on them. Air Force officials have said that the 20s and 35S blocks were so different, with pilots getting bad habits on the older jets. The staff's only comment about NGAD is to note that it's still in a very early stage, and we've had time to adapt the program accordingly. He also noted that there may be some overlap with the Collaborative Combat Aircraft program, and that the effort saw an estimated 50 increase in the chair's mark, from $118.8 million to $176.1 million. If Congress continues to block the divestiture of the older F-22S and the Indonesian Air Force is obliged to remain operational, They more claimed that $500 million of something else would not be completed. The NDAA draft did not see a surge in F-22 funding to match budget cuts. However, the line item F-22 Squadron Tested and Evaluation Development Research account only saw a $15 million increase from $725.9 million to $740.9 million to increase the jet's virtual world of excitement. Procurement funding remains the same. The F-22 continues to be in high demand. The Air Force sent an undisclosed number of them to the Middle East in mid-June in response to what the Pentagon called unsafe and unprofessional air-to-air encounters between Russian and U.S. aircraft. If you enjoy content like this, please like and subscribe to this video as I appreciate all your support.